Hey everyone, welcome to Financial Revelations. I am David Safransky, your host. I was Mr. Universe on the radio this morning. Actually, I'm Mr. Universe every day, but for today on the radio, we do have a live feed that goes out on YouTube. I had a sash on that says Mr. Universe, so it must be official, right? You can call us, 1-800-344-2534. You can email Corey with questions or comments, or if you want to meet with us, that email will be going on down here. And every Thursday morning, I'm on WCRF 103.3 in Cleveland. It's a Moody radio station, but you can get us on the Moody Radio App wherever you're at in the world. So there's no excuse not to listen. And I think they archive our broadcast too. So if you want to go back and listen to all our old broadcasts, which I'm sure you do, you can do that too. So if there's something that you heard this morning that you want to rehear, you can either call here and ask me about it, or you can listen to it. So, hey, nativosusa.org, about the website, about the mission trips that we do in the Amazon. We're going to do one in March of next year, is the plan. We just got contacted by a church that we work with that wants to do one too, either that trip or another trip. So there's a lot going on with mission trips. If you want to be part of it, you want to donate, go to that website. You can call here, of course, nativosusa.org. In fact, Pastor Marcos and Paula, his wife, are here right now from Brazil. We're kind of taking them around the country a little bit. So mainly on the weekends, we're doing that because they speak at churches all over the country and raising money for a church in the Amazon that they're going to build. So when people come out of the jungle, they have a place to go to training. They have a church to go to. It's all good. Seen it all. They're really good with money. That's one of the things that I really love about them. So anyway, you could see all that on nativosusa.org or call here and we'll walk you through how to be part of those trips. So I know what you're all thinking. I'm going to start here. It's not financial, but it is financial. And that is the debate that happened this past Tuesday night. Did Trump lay an egg? No, he didn't lay an egg. And I'll tell you why I think that. But I do think it was kind of a missed opportunity for Donald Trump. What I noticed is it seemed to me like he took a lot of the bait traps that were laid for him, especially where they talked about, she kind of made fun of the rallies. And I could give or take the rallies. I don't really care about, I like seeing them. I like seeing all the people and all that, but he's talking to the people that are already voting for him. We got to go out and change the hearts and minds of people who are on the fence. They're the undecided. They're those people. And maybe a lot of those people are at the rallies. I don't know. Every time I question Donald Trump, I seem to be wrong about it. So I wish he wouldn't have taken that bait. He could have talked a lot more about how they've been, for some reason, a lot of people don't realize this, but Vice President Harris is in office right now. And the things that she wants to change, she could do right now. Why don't they do it right now? Why are they going to wait till she's the president? What's the point of that? They could have been doing these things all along, but they weren't. And now they want to do them. He could have been talking more about her flip-flops. So I still have Trump winning the presidential election. Las Vegas still has Trump winning pretty handily, actually. So that hasn't changed, but just a little tiny smidge. The other thing, too, is we had the standard of the last debate where I think Trump did an exceptional job. He was so good that Joe Biden quit the race. That's how good that performance was. And so you're measuring the next performance, the next debate, against the last debate, and you're just probably not going to get that 2 times in a row. And Vice President Harris is a skilled politician. It doesn't mean she's qualified to be president. I don't think she's qualified to be president. It has nothing to do with her gender, her race, where she was born, where she grew up, where she lives, what she looks like, or anything. And that's not really a slight. Most people, I would not include myself in this group, most people are not qualified to be president. I believe I would be qualified. So it's a hard job. You got to know a lot. People say that she's frequently unprepared and has no people say she's frequently unprepared, and she has no real desire to get prepared. So it seemed to me like she was searching for answers after 5 days of preparation. But there's a lot to remember. So I still have Trump winning. You still have Trump winning. Vegas still has Trump winning. I think Vice President Harris, the rigmarole around her, the excitement around her is not really about the presidential election for the Democrats. I think it's about the down ballot races. I think it's more about trying to save the Senate, if they can. I don't think they're going to, because the map is really bad for them in this series of elections, and take the House. I think that's what this is about. Remember, the same media that was telling you 2.5 months ago that this was the best version of Joe Biden they had ever seen. That's a quote from Morning Joe. The best version of Biden they had ever seen, and was trying to get Kamala Harris off the ticket, is the same version of the press that is telling you now that she's the real deal. They're trying to get her off the ticket 4 months ago. So it's a smoke show is what it is. It's just it's smoke and mirrors, and that's going to come out. So we're going to be fine. Next week, there's a big meeting, the Fed's meeting. Chair Powell is going to lower interest rates. They're going to come down 1/4 of a point. That's going to be, it's not really that important that he lowers rates 0.25% next week. Some people think he's not, by the way. I'm of the camp that he is going to lower rates. I was more for starting in November because there's a Fed meeting the day after the election, but they're going to come early. They're definitely coming at us early with a rate cut, and that's going to happen. It's going to be 25 basis points. The more important thing is the direction of travel is going to be towards lower rates. So right now, the Fed charges banks for overnight loans 5.5%. That's called the Fed funds rate. They're going to take that rate to 3.5%, maybe even 3.25%, most likely. That puts the 30-year mortgage at about 4.5%, 4.25%. It was at 7%, over 7% just a couple of months ago. So that is a tremendous difference. That's going to spur not commercial real estate, but more residential real estate. It's going to spur that building, that buying, those refinances. So if you're looking for a place that wasn't really that exciting a few months ago that you could invest in now, it would be residential real estate of some kind. So there's ETFs that do it. There's mutual funds that do it. Those are good ways to look at commercial residential real estate instead of going out and buying individual builders, because there still could be a recession. In fact, it's likely that about 3 months after the first rate cut, we declare a recession. It's just the way it goes. So look at real estate, residential real estate. I still love technology. I still love the things that we've liked all along. Those things aren't changing. But remember, be diversified. Talk with somebody before you go and invest. Don't just buy something because I said it was a good idea. Buy something because it's a good idea for you. That's what's important. Your portfolio is individual. So when firms have this like A portfolio, B portfolio, C portfolio, and you got to fit in one of them, I hate those things. Hate them. Because your portfolio is uniquely built for you. That's how we do it here. That's how you should do it. So don't get these program portfolios. I think they're a waste of time and a waste of your money. Doesn't mean you can't make money there. I just think you could do a lot better. So is it a wrong answer? Well, I tend to believe yes, but some people think it's a good answer. I just think there's better answers. So I want to answer a listener question today that came about from the debate. And that is, why do we let other countries take advantage of our markets? Why do we let other countries take advantage of our markets? So you look at most of Europe and China, they are basically export economies, meaning that they build things and they send them here and we buy them. And one of the things that Donald Trump has talked about, he did it in his last administration, he's talking about it now, is tariffs. So people charge us a tariff to send stuff to their country, but we let them have free and unfettered access to our markets. And that started, I'm going to give you a little bit of a history lesson. It's called the Bretton Woods Agreement. It was in 1944. It happened in Bretton Woods, New Hampshire. And I think there was 44 countries involved, mainly from Europe. And what we did is World War II was ending. So the Victory in Europe Day was almost here. We saw the writing on the wall. We knew that we were going to win this war. And so we started planning for after World War II and what we were going to do. Now, remember, we spent the better part of 5-6 years bombing everything in Europe. So there wasn't a bridge to cross. The buildings were knocked down. Manufacturing was done. You blew up all the railroad tracks because you had to kill supply lines for the Germans. And so Europe was decimated, structurally decimated. So we call all the people, we call these 44 countries to Bretton Woods. And what they think is going to happen, they think that we're going to tell them, oh, by the way, we're the king now and we own you. And they were ready to agree to that. And instead what they got was the Bretton Woods Agreement, where we said, look, we cannot afford to rebuild your countries. We do not have the money and you don't have the money. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to give you free and unfettered access to our markets. You're going to be able to build stuff there and send it here, and we're going to buy it, because we were already becoming a consumer nation. And we still did a lot of manufacturing here. In fact, most of the stuff that we bought and sold was really manufactured here just till not too recently ago. We're talking about the 80s. But Europe had not really built their export economy yet. And we said, oh, by the way, this is like the Ginsu Nice commercials. But wait, there's more. We're also going to not require you to build up an army or a navy, because we're going to protect the shipping lanes. So you're going to put your stuff on ships, you're going to bring it here, and we're going to protect it the whole way here. So you don't got to waste your money building a navy, because we already have a navy, and we're going to protect you. And so this is the way that we built up, that we allowed Europe to be rebuilt by buying all their stuff. So naturally, what Europe does, what most of the European countries do, and wisely so, is they structured their economies built on exporting to America. Donald Trump, if you go back and look at film or tape from Donald Trump from 25, 30 years ago, he is saying the exact same thing then that he's saying now. He's sick of countries taking advantage of us. And really, the Bretton Woods Agreement in total kind of ended back in the 70s, but the structural aspect of it, of Europe building export economies and sending their stuff to America and us protecting it, still exists to this day. And what Donald Trump is saying is, why are we still living in Bretton Woods when you guys are mature economies? You don't need to do that. And by the way, when we try and ship a car to Germany, it has like a 15% tax on it. That's called a tariff. And so what Donald Trump is saying is, if you're going to tax our cars 15% that come in the country, we're going to tariff you 15%. We're going to take this playing field that was like this, and we're going to level it. You give us 15% tariff, we're going to give you a 15% tariff. That's what he's doing. Now, when he did it to China really, it did hurt their manufacturing because everything got more expensive. Typically, I don't like tariffs. I think they're an economic anomaly that really hurts people in the long run. But I understand what Donald Trump is doing. He's using it as mainly a negotiation tool to say, look, you're going to open up your markets to us. Now, that isn't as advantageous as you would think, because out of the 1.6 billion people in China, most of them cannot afford the things that we make. They're too expensive, especially when you allot for the changes in currency. For instance, when we go to Brazil, we go to this big mall in Manaus, the big city that we fly into, and this mall is every bit a mall and bigger than the malls that we have here. But if you find something that's made in America and it's being sold there, it's 3 times as expensive. A GoPro camera that would be $400 or $500 here will be $1,500 or $1,600 American dollars there, because they put tariffs on it. If you don't make it in Brazil, you're probably not going to sell it in Brazil. Well, they don't make a lot of things in Brazil, so consequently, people are paying a lot. And what happens is you put a tariff on that camera, and eventually the consumer pays for it. So if Donald Trump is going to use tariffs, he's going to use them as a negotiation tool, because if he actually implements tariffs, you're going to get higher prices. And I don't like that. I like negotiating to open up economies. People in Europe can't afford our stuff. They should open up our economies there, or their economies to us. We should be able to ship a Ford truck to Europe. Now, the problem with the Ford truck in Europe is gas is twice as expensive in Europe because they're all in on the Green New Deal. They artificially raise the price of gas to encourage people to drive electric vehicles, which, by the way, they can't charge. So imagine if you live in an apartment building and we're going to make you drive an electric vehicle. Where are you going to charge your car? How are you going to charge your car? It's just not realistic. There's nowhere near the infrastructure to do these things. And because it takes so long to charge your car, we're going to need 3 times the infrastructure that we have for gasoline cars that we're going to need for electric vehicles because it takes so long to charge. Talking about an hour and a half to do a standard charge to 80%. Well, I filled up my F-150 at the gas station at Costco this morning. I timed it. 6 minutes. That's it. 6 minutes. I can now go almost 700 miles in my F-150. 6 minutes. Hour and a half. You're going to need 3 times the infrastructure. It's not currently possible. So that's why Donald Trump uses tariffs. That's why people take advantage of our economy right now and our markets, because we let it happen so we could rebuild Europe. I've been to Europe a couple of times. I've been to Italy. I've been to France. I've been to England. It seems rebuilt. There was plenty of bridges there. They don't need Bretton Woods anymore. Donald Trump is getting in the way of Bretton Woods agreement, and he should. We should do that. It's time that Europe stood on their own 2 socialistic feet and not standing on our backs anymore. So I'm all for him negotiating. Just don't love tariffs. I wish there was a better way. But you got to bring something to the table that punishes them so that they will react. If you say, look, I really would like you to open up your markets. I really wish you would. Would you please open up your markets? What are they? They're going to say no. No. So you got to create a problem for them that we're going to solve. Also out of Bretton Woods, the IMF and the World Bank was created. Those are basically 2 CIA proxies now that spread socialism around the world. So we could do away with them. But that's why I think people take advantage of our economy, because we let them do it starting in 1944, and it's just never ended. You know, the most permanent program in Washington is a temporary government program. So Bretton Woods started in 1944. It's still living strong. Donald Trump is getting in the way of it. And quite frankly, NATO and Europe and the European crime bosses, some of them called parliamentarians, they don't like that. They realize that the free gift is coming to an end, and it should. I'm David Safransky, a real American, a true red-blooded patriot, and the voice you can trust.